Welcome back to the Theory of Three, everybody, and I think we're going to be talking a little bit about downtime. It's something we all have to experience when you're creating a business or working in any industry.
Except Gary Vee.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's like you go to Instagram and we have a couple friends, not going to mention who, you know who you are, and you'll go out, you'll have a dinner or something, you come back and they're wearing different clothes, something along those lines, and they take multiple pictures and they post those pictures throughout the next, coming weeks, and it kind of makes it look like they're busy or they're having a better life than
what social media it was just all about.
That's what it's all about.
We're guilty of the exact same thing.
Yeah, but I think not really.
Oh yeah.
Posting old content, come on, bro.
Well, yeah, but we're posting content as a portfolio, not just something as.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, but yeah, beside that,
the entire downtime concept of just learning to not only be able to keep yourself productive while you're jumping from project to project, but everybody knows the high that you get after coming off of a set, and everything's exciting. It's pretty much a morphine, adrenaline rush for filmmakers, specifically to go from a project into another project, like back to back to back. And then you get done with the project or an extremely busy 9 days, and you just want to crash, right? You crash for 2 days, 48 hours, and as soon as those 48 hours pop up, you wake up the third day and you're like, oh God, I've got nothing, and you feel that big onset of reality and depression hit you.
It's the fight for the next thing.
Yep.
And to some of us, and for some of us, it could be longer than a week, could be longer than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, could be months.
It depends on just your work schedule.
There will always be dry spells.
Well, I think right now is what is today, June 3rd, 2019, and we are waiting on how many pieces right now?
4.
And that's kind of why we're saying that downtime, because it's I would say arguably it would be some of our best work to date, and it's just sitting there. Mm-hmm. And we want to post it, we want to share with people what we've done, we want to get it out ourselves, but there are just a lot of things that are being tied up right now, which is a good thing, because the more time the better, but it definitely doesn't ease my conscience to saying let's go, especially if you're running a business. And there's things that just you need to get done, but what Philip was saying and segueing into what he was saying was the patience part of it, saying, you know what, things will pan out. When they do release, they will get released, or everything will be okay at the end. So
you've always got that psychological moment where you think you have to be doing exactly what everybody else is doing, which is on Instagram, because that's what you're on, social media, where everybody's posting stuff like, oh, I'm doing this today, and they did that weeks ago, and you think you need to be doing something every single day,
which you need to be doing something
you
every
do
single day,
but you're not going to be doing the good stuff every single day. There's going to be more losses than there are wins in the beginning.
True, very true.
For anyway, outside of that though, just for those that are listening that have that exact same sort of experience, I would just highly encourage you guys to just stay focused with what you guys are trying to accomplish, just business wise and long term goals, because long term goals really are pretty much the only offset that keeps you focused. Because if you're just jumping from project to project, it's absolutely frustrating, and it can be very detrimental to your overall just attitude and emotional state. So having those long-term goals, saying hey, this is what I'm going to accomplish, this is what I'm going to do by this date, I'm going to have this many followers by this date, I'm going to do everything in my power to reach those goals. It's just it's something that I know it's helped me in a lot of places, just being able to focus on what I'm going to accomplish and then what's going to happen company-wise, instead of being fixed on every single step. So you kind of have to learn a balance, because I've grown up with blue-collar family where it says the only way to succeed in life is put your head down and take one step in front of the other, and that's just how you accomplish. Yeah, baby steps. And
shout out to What About Bob?
Yeah,
that was one of the hilarious. It's one of the first films that I ever sunk into my brain, and I don't want to go down a rabbit trail. That was one of the first films that got into my brain, because I feel we had a joke about it was family friendly, which where the joke was it was our music teacher that introduced us to the movie, and What About Bob was the first film that, that's hilarious.
It was such a good film.
Yeah.
But yeah, just learn to balance your baby steps with your long-term goals, and you'll be fine.
It's about the macro, not the micro.
Yep.
But yeah, talking about being on set, which cracks me up, is I was seeing a post in a Facebook page that we follow, and they were talking about a DIT, first AC, and sound guy, and it was mostly about the DIT and the first AC. And we had a call with our one of our companies here in St. Louis. We were on the phone call with him, and our first AC pipes up and goes, "Hey, am I doing DIT on this shoot?" And that was like, "Wait a minute, what? Wait, what?" And the company goes, "No, we got enough. You know, it was all taken care of on their end." But it got me thinking about this whole idea that the industry is about this whole DIT first AC thing, and even the sound guy. Like, well, hilarious that people start pulling separate jobs. Like, my qualm is, and I'm a gaffer, and I'm literally to say this, but you'll spend what, $2,000 on me for myself, a couple grips, or maybe probably way more on bigger shoots, and gear and all that stuff, but you'll spend little on the first AC and not get a separate DIT. My thing is, like, I've seen where a DIT has deleted a whole day of footage. We've had that happen on a feature, dude. We've had that on a feature.
Like a whole day.
And it was like, we could have, what? And it was like, it got me thinking, on that end, but even on this Facebook group, like, it was like, where do people draw the lines? Like, first AC, if you don't get anything in focus, like, you might as well just throw everything down the trash. Mm-hmm. If you don't have good sound, throw it down the trash. Like, we've seen videos on YouTube that have gotten 6 million, 12 million views that have horrible lighting, horrible camera, but it's all about the story. Like, the story's good. Like, it's interesting. The video's interesting. But it has to be in focus, and the audio has to be good, or people will stop watching. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a reason why people put so much emphasis on that. Like, there is. But then you have everything looks beautiful. Let's say you spend $10,000 or $20,000 on a production, and that's super small. But you spend that, and then you have the first AC, which is already doing a super important job, do DIT work, and he's like, and he messes up,
That dude needs to be paid, and you so much more.
And you instead of spending $400 to $500 on a DIT that's dedicated to getting your footage, the thing that you spent $20,000 on, from the card to the hard drive and backed up, dude. Like, there are so many things that could screw up there, and you're literally putting it in the hands of someone that's already done something super important on set.
You're buying insurance. That's what it is.
It's unbelievable that people that don't understand that.
Yeah, because I mean the crucial part about losing footage, no matter how you do it, I mean, you're putting that responsibility in the hands of somebody that already has a very large responsibility on set. So. Let's go with the theory that you did just have a first AC, which we've done this. We've been in this situation.
I mean, we're accused as much as anybody else.
But... I mean, the pot calling the kettle black here. But, like, I mean, what ends up happening is, like, have we ever run into the situation where they pay the actual first AC more to do both?
I've seen that happen, but I've also seen where it was, like, super minimum. Like, I mean,
it was like $100 more.
Yeah, it was like $100 or $150 more to like have someone do that. But that's the thing is, like, if you have someone that's dedicated and it just grinds my gears, the people that are on set that are just super undervalued, in my opinion, sound guy, first AC, DIT, and those are the most 3 important things. You know, you can spend $2,000 on a good camera package and good lenses, and then a DP on top of that. And if you don't have someone that's taking that card to a hard drive backing it up, that someone will format a card, and you've just screwed half of your day or a whole day.
I mean, and that's another thing too. As a DP, you're gonna have to make the decision, and you're gonna have to obviously learn this as you go forward. But like, lighting and camera issues or mistakes within film, they're literally that. They're mistakes. They're things you're going to learn from. Yep. But you know, your DIT, your footage,
like that's something you don't ever want to learn.
That's
from.
not a mistake era. Like, that's a place you cannot.
Yeah, you don't want to walk away from a shoot with Ford and go, you know what, guys? We probably should have hired a DIT guy, or we should have hired that first AC.
That's shocking to me. How many like larger companies, larger production companies we've worked with that don't understand that?
Well, in some sense, and it's more of people. They hire other people, and they don't, and they're like, no, we can get away with it. And the company's like, great, we can save more money. Great. But then you have a production company like us. They're like, no, we're not coming on set without a good first AC, someone that we worked with, and a DIT that's going to get your footage. Like, I'm not going to shoot all day, and I'm not going to light all day and make some of the best footage that we've ever made, or the best
just
stuff
to have it accidentally.
Yeah, and it's not so much like the company's like, well, I don't want to spend $400. Like, dude, they are insurance. I don't care if someone's like, they are solely responsible if the footage gets lost, like deleted, corrupted, all that shit. Like, that's the person that you turn to if something happens on set. They are the most important person on set. And that's why, you know, it's unbelievable to me why people...
Yeah. You know what cracks me up, though, is that we've like, even recently, we've started working with this production company who, I mean, I brought up the whole concept of, like, you know, are we going to have to, you know, do offloads, DIT, where are we going to have that operated at? I mean, who's doing it? And their response was like, oh, no. Don't worry about it. We have enough cars that we don't ever have to, like, go back. We just have a DIT dump at the end of the day. What? Like, it kind of makes me laugh because that's pretty much how, you know, they used to do it back in film. I mean, they just did a roll and that was it. You didn't do DIT. You just, you know,
you just
packed up the roll, marked it.
Yeah, marked it and went on. But yeah, that was one of my things is like, was getting on me this week was like, why is this not something that's brought up? Like, I don't, it's just, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, there's a Facebook page that I even follow that has, at the very top, you can, you know, basically, like, what role do you do? And there's, like, 96 different roles they have. And at the very top, there's PAs. There was, like, 1,200 PAs or something like that. There was, like, 600 to 700 DPs. There was, like, 900 directors. There's a lot of producers. And if you keep scrolling down and you go all the way to the bottom, there were 2 DITs. Literally, the bottom, it was DIT 2. You could click over the hover of the thing and it just says 2
it's hard
people.
to find. It's hard to be a niche person, especially if you have a small market.
Yeah,
and,
like if you're in a small market, like even from where we're from in St. Louis, like if you're just a DIT and that's all you do, I mean, you're pretty much saying like, hey, I don't want money. Like, I will get it whenever it happens.
You have to either be a first, second AC or and a DIT or a
you have to have a lot of split.
Yeah.
You have a swing a lot of ways.
Oh, but yeah. Oh, news. Local news. Well, not really local news, but more like
film-oriented news.
Film news. Netflix. So obviously, I don't want to get too political about this, which is going to be extremely hard to do.
Very political.
Oh boy.
But Netflix, roughly July 1st of 2017, I came back across an article which has been brought up multiple times over the last week. The article basically broke down Netflix's debt levels, and in July 1st of 2017, they were $20 billion in debt. $20 billion.
Well, that's the number that we hit last week.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
Yeah. $20 billion in debt. And yeah, anyway, so I did a little bit more research and I looked up here locally, somewhere in March, and it was roughly like 14.5, something like that.
Well, they just upped them upping their account, fees, what their user fees, I should say.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
I think it's like what, $14 now per month?
14? I think it sounds about right.
14.
I think it's 14.
I don't use
14.
Netflix, so all those Netflixers out there,
All those Netflixers.
we've named them.
Yeah. No, but anyway, this all revolves around the whole conversation about the abortion laws, everything that is happening in Georgia, one of the most major conversations in the film world right now.
Well, I feel like a lot of people aren't up to date on it because, like, we were talking to a couple friends of ours and they're like, wait a minute, I was about to move to Georgia. Is that what they're really saying? And, like, Disney, Sony, Netflix, like, a ton of these big companies have been saying stuff like, hey, we're not going to be filming in Georgia. And that's huge.
That's a huge statement.
Yeah, it's not only that, but the state of California, don't quote me on this one, but I do believe it's true, put out an issue saying they're going to apply tax incentives to any production outside of any state that supports abortion.
Dude, I'm going to go to California and go, hey, I was forced out of my state. I need that tax incentive now, or just give me all the locations for free.
Yep.
Like, how many people are gonna go to California and go, all right, I was gonna film in Louisiana. No, you weren't. That's not even in the city. You needed deserts, and you were gonna film at Louisiana. No, we were gonna make sets.
We changed the story.
Yeah, we were
man.
gonna make sets in Louisiana for desert, and they're like, oh yeah, come on in. What gets me? How much in debt is California?
Oh, they're massive.
How
segueing to bigger debt here.
Yeah, how are we? It's like unbelievable. I don't think that in some sense, like, the people that listen to podcasts, especially for myself, when I hear someone that's like 14 billion in debt, like, that just seems like it seems big, but it seems super small compared to like the U.S. debt, which is like what, 36 trillion, and it's like, geez. It's unbelievable. Don't quote me on that 36 trillion. It was an analogy.
Check.
But it's in the trillions. I know that.
Let me check.
So this is from the California State Department. They California is in a sinkhole state without enough assets to cover its debt. California only has 101 billion of assets available to pay its bills, totaling 369.9 billion.
Yeah. You know what gets me though? In that
The U.S. is $22 trillion.
$22 trillion in debt. You know what? You also talk. I don't want to segue too much from what you were originally talking about, but the California in itself, you have, which is one of the biggest companies, Amazon, just moved to San Diego. I think
Or
it was
San Francisco.
San Francisco, San Diego,
Francisco.
somewhere there.
Yeah, San Francisco.
It's hard to keep up with all this stuff. But in that sense, like, they just moved there, and they were going to give them, like, 3 years' worth of tax incentives. Like, last year, Amazon didn't pay any tax at all.
And that's because they chose not to.
No, the state of California.
No, that's what I'm saying. The
Yeah,
state
they
of
gave them
California
tax
chose for that to
incentive.
happen.
They gave tax incentives. My ass. It was tax cuts. Like they weren't going to pay like taxes for this many years. They were going to pay them this much to move there. Like, I think New York was. I think New York lost Amazon last week. Over like tax things and stuff like that, which cracked me up.
Well, it's funny because I just searched Amazon's move to San Diego, and the first thing that pops up is moved today as low as $11.99. They're trying to move people into San Diego because everybody's moved out.
Yeah, dude.
The cost of living's so high.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
And that's an ad, and there's like just ads and ads and ads of.
What gets me is, in some sense, going back to Netflix. I don't want to get too far off that, but yeah, Netflix in and of itself, like...
Yeah, Netflix being that much in debt, like, basically what the conversation is being had right now spans between, like, three different things. The argument behind the whole, abortion ban that's happened in Georgia has created, like, a massive uprising within the film industry because pretty much everybody is up in arms.
Yeah.
Whether you're on, whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, like, both sides are, up in arms because of it.
Well, you have pro-choice women that are saying, I understand what you're doing, but I also understand that you're going to hurt the business, or you're going to hurt our lives.
Yeah.
Because you're taking film jobs away, and I'm going to have to uproot everything that I've
like
planted.
The one woman that basically talked about how she moved her entire family and she's been chasing the film industry because that's pretty much
that's
what you have to do.
Like, you have to be smart, not like us.
And she was pro-choice too. She's just like, look, like you're about to screw so many different lives because of this thing. But basically the other major half of this argument that has been brought up specifically spans around the Game of Thrones actress Sophie Turner. She's engaged to
she's not engaged.
One of the Jonas.
She's married.
Oh, is she married already?
She's
I don't even know.
married,
Okay.
But that's how much that we keep up with the Kardashians. When we say Kardashians, we mean every celebrity.
Yeah, but basically she said, she made a statement that's very similar to a lot of it. I think Jessica Chastain was another one saying,
was the one that I was talking about, yeah.
They wouldn't work in Georgia or do any of the films, blah, 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 because
they
of it.
wouldn't shoot anything in Georgia.
And a lot of people, even pro-choicers, are bringing this up, basically saying, like, hey, the hypocrisy that's coming out of not only actors in the acting world, but also, from Netflix and specifically Disney, because over the last year they have filmed, I mean, their biggest films right now were all filmed in countries that have no, abortion is completely banned.
Yeah.
And not only that, but also in those three countries, they have the strictest homosexual laws, and they are the most homophobic in the entire world. To the point where, which is the UAE? Like, it's like you can be actually executed. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's one of the countries I specifically read that they filmed in that they execute. Gays in that general. And it's shocking that, with all of this, like, oh, well, we're not going to film here because this one state banned abortion on this level, and here are the statistics behind it, when they themselves have been operating in countries, entire countries, mind you, not states, entire countries where there are the most highest level of, all the way to the highest level of government, it's completely banned.
Yeah.
And in my personal opinion, obviously, I if you haven't figured this out on my end, I'm completely, I think it's completely hypocritical that they're saying this. But even specifically for Sophie Turner, I mean, they filmed, all of Game of Thrones, primarily most of it in Ireland. Ireland, completely, abortion ban. That was a huge thing that happened in 2017 to 2018. That whole vote that they took that happened over there.
Yeah.
And so
in that same interview that you were talking about, they asked her that same question.
Yep.
And she said she was glad that Game of Thrones was done filming. Which got to me, it was
what does that
mean
say?
you
Oh,
were just,
so you were just in it for the money,
you
or
just
you
got
were
your money, and now you're just saying that
now you're willing to stand up. Because if you were really a believer of this whole concept, you would have stood up during the middle of it and said, like, well, I'm not going to do the film anymore.
Yeah. Did someone look up? Does she have a?
I know that she was engaged to one of the Jonas Brothers.
No,
does she have a U.S. citizenship?
No, I don't know.
Oh,
maybe a visa. But she's from the UK.
Let me look.
Yeah, she's from the UK. I think she does. I swear to God, she does have a U.S. citizenship.
So Ireland is now, they just passed it in the Act 2018.
Yeah.
But abortion is permitted in Ireland.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. During the first 12
Joe
years.
Jonas, that's it.
Yep.
That's it.
It's not Nick, yeah.
Yeah.
But it only started commencing on the 1st of January this year.
1st of January. Okay. That makes sense.
So they were doing it before, in every other previous season.
Yep.
But
Every season
But
before
that's
that.
HBO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You
it
know
still
what?
doesn't matter. She's standing up and saying this on her personally. I mean, obviously, her only reason behind it was the contract. The point is, no matter what happens, and no matter what happens, I honestly don't care what happens with Netflix or like, Disney. I mean, if they end up moving, I mean, like, okay, whoopie-doo, where are you going next? Like, I mean, pretty much people are going to chase it either way. But it is going to hurt Georgia's economy, although, in my opinion, I don't actually think it's going to, like, I don't think they're going to fall through with it. I mean, like, it's the same kind of people that said, like, hey, I'm going to leave the country if Trump gets, elected and nothing happened.
They're still here.
They're still here. I mean, it's like that whole concept behind, what's going on. I mean, granted, I understand making political statements. I completely understand, going on marches and, doing protests. I mean, there's so many different things you can do to stand up for, political activism. But, at the same time, you have to think logically. I mean, the people that are in the state that voted for this, that ended up putting it through the House and through the Senate, and they ended up making it a law. I mean, they're not trying to they're not trying to make this an issue. I don't think they've ever thought about, like, oh, well, look at the repercussions that's going to happen out of this. That's not, I've heard people bring that up as like, oh, they did this intentionally. No, they didn't. They didn't do anything of this intentionally. I think no matter whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, I have to admit that I don't think there's any way that you can look at this and suggest that,
This has gone really political.
It is very political. I mean, it's a big subject because think about it. We've even had the conversation ourselves about moving to Atlanta. We've talked about this specifically, and we like you said, Curtis. I mean, there are people who are asking us like, "Well, hey, like, what's going on? We've been under a rock. Where should we be moving?"
Yeah.
And it's one of those kind of conversations that as I believe her first name was Paula or something, the lady that was interviewed. About how they'd been moving her family around. I don't remember her actual name. I'm just going to call her Paula for this sake. But Paula basically said that, she had moved her family, was it 6 or 7 times? And
3 or 4 times, yeah.
3 or 4 times. And she had finally settled all of them. And that means her parents as well in Georgia because they work in the film industry. And she said, I'm pro-choice, but this entire concept of where you have to abandon everything because you disagree with somebody, like... she's like, it's not responsible and it's not being mature whatsoever.
Yeah.
And she's like, on a financial level, I mean, you're pretty much abandoning one of the most flourishing parts of the United States right now for film just because you disagree with somebody's opinion.
Yeah.
And, there are, I mean, as, like, for people that are pro-choice, there are literally, 50 other states that, there you go. There's abortions there. That are, completely okay with it. And, this entire process of saying, like, hey, well, we're just going to throw in the towel because all of this is happening. It's just creating a lot of rift. And it's pretty much, every time I open up Facebook, it's my entire feed is filled with that.
Social media in general.
So, yeah, if any of you have, like, any opinions on this, I'd be curious to see, like, what you think, whether, when it comes to the Georgia specifically abortion ban. Like, what do you guys think? How do you think they could have handled it better? More importantly, how do you think Netflix and Disney should actually approach this realistically? Not like as a teenager saying, well, you took away my privilege. I'm just gonna, how should that all go down? So,
yeah, moving on from the
political sad, to movies.
Yeah.
So,
what cracks me up, you haven't seen the season 3 of True Detective?
I have not. I
Okay.
have not.
So Philip and I have, and I watched it about a week ago, 2 weeks ago or so, and then I told him about it, and then he binged it.
I binged it.
Yeah. But in some sense, like I was a huge fan of the first ones, and I think all of us have seen the first season of True Detective. Matthew McConaughey, brilliant. Like I absolutely loved the first season. It's probably, in my opinion, one of the best TV shows ever written for the first season. Like I absolutely love it, and I really like how they only encapsulated one season. Like one season's one story. Like it doesn't drag on. Like the season, they only had 8 episodes, and the 8th episode concluded everything. But there was such a good vibe in that whole.
And even Woody Harrelson in the first season was
those two combined, the way the characters interacted, even there's like 2 seasons where it's just about those two, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their relationship and what happened to them, and you know what's going on in their lives. Like it's hilarious, but in some sense I absolutely like that. So like the second season I was absolutely appalled. Like I did not like the second season. And don't get me wrong, it was just out of the genre of what I was used to for True Detective. Like it wasn't something that I was wanting. And so when I heard about season 3, I was like, nope, there's no way. I saw the trailer. The trailer was more intriguing than I thought. I was like, okay, but then it just kind of fell off my radar until about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I watched it. It came up in my YouTube, hashtag algorithms. But it came up in my recommended feed. Watch the trailer again. I'm like, you know what, I'll give it a try. Watched the first episode and I was hooked. Like the cinematography alone, but the story was there. It was very close to the beginning, but not, like the style of it, how they jump. I still cannot get how they jump between, and Marvel and every other film needs to take a look, take a hint at what they do here, because I hate when you go to a Marvel film or any other film in that matter and they go Columbus, Ohio, 2015, or 1976, Missouri, especially in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I absolutely hate when they put the subtitles up there. Like, I don't like it. Like, if you look at what True Detective does, they do color grades. Everything's about a color grade. Once they establish where something is, they never tell you where it is again in a storyline or in timeline.
You have to assume.
Season 1.
You figure it out.
The season 1, they told you, hey, this is 1980, or season 3, episode 1. See, this is 1980, this is 1990, this is 2015. Like they told you.
They told it in the script.
They told you in the script once. Yeah. They put the sub down there telling you in a very small bracket saying this is what the year is, and then everything was about color grade, and everything was about wardrobe, and everything was about what was in his life, and everything was about what he was doing, like the makeup, who he was involved with. Like it told a story in and of itself. They never had to rehash what year it was. They never had to tell you what where they were again. Like it never happened, and I absolutely love that about their storytelling capability on True Detective. I want to tell before the other two start talking. There's a shot in the first episode. I'm pretty sure it's in the first episode where the main character finds a peephole in one of the children's or the kids' room, or the little girl's room, I think. And there was a moment where he told his partner to go and investigate and go look at it. Well, his partner, there's a shot, and it's a profile shot. The actor bends down to get his eye to look through the peephole, and there's light beaming through that light, and it's going up his shirt, across his face, and then it lands right on his eye, and it was like, yes, I absolutely love that shot, and like it got me hooked through the rest of the season, like the story alone, but like how they shot, the cinematography, how the color grade was kind of matched throughout the whole thing was very, very interesting, to say the least. And there's a lot of twists too, like people that you thought were bad were good, and you know they had
people
good
you
reasons.
thought were good were bad.
Yeah,
you know,
so
stuff you didn't think.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that were a good twist.
Yeah,
in the
the end was really just.
Yeah, and there's a lot of depth in the character as well. Like the main character, there's a lot of depth to him.
There's a lot of real life behavior.
Yeah.
Like it's real. Like it's not faked.
The dialogue wasn't forced. Yeah. It was just a good overall season.
Props to the actors.
Season.
They did.
Oh
fantastic
yeah,
job.
absolutely
Fantastic.
Amazing cast. So for someone that's not, have you seen think you've seen the trailer, right?
Oh yeah, I've
Okay.
seen the trailer. I've seen a couple of like clips.
Clips.
but,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
haven't
I
seen
don't
it.
think there was a shot in the third season that was super
Mind blowing.
mind blowing. Like absolutely, there's frames. Like I would say frames. There's absolutely beautiful frames. But there's not like that astounding shot in season 1 where there was like a 9-minute take. You know, like
Yeah, when you just
Russ is
everybody's
running
like,
around.
whoa.
Russ is
Yeah.
running around, busting into doors, carrying whatever that guy is, like holding people and shooting them, and then finally jumps in the car, and the car takes away.
Mm-hmm.
Like there wasn't that shot, which got hype over like all the filmmakers going, how the hell did they pull that off? Like, there wasn't any of that. But
Again,
like,
it was more about the story.
yeah, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, I absolutely enjoyed that, and how he met his wife and how that interacted, and it was a super cool story to say the least. And his dementia or his Alzheimer's, like in that sense, like I absolutely love how they tied that in, how it affected his interview.
Purple haze.
Yeah, purple haze. Like and him being in the military, like it just fit. It absolutely fit, and yeah, it was just a good story. So, but for someone that's like outside, not seen, but just seen the trailer, what would you think?
I mean, I've got the same exact feeling. Like I was left like a really bad taste in my mouth from the second season.
Yeah.
Like I saw 2 episodes and I'd never watched it. I actually have no idea how the second season actually ends.
Well, it gets better on the further way.
I just did
along the
not
way.
like it.
Yeah.
The first season's absolutely incredible. I mean, True Detective is definitely one of the most. Like the first season is beautiful in its own right, and I think the fact they shot it all on film made like even a bigger statement. It's just it set a tone for a TV series you haven't seen in a while.
Well,
But
there's very rare good TV shows that have good stories. Like I see
not just good stories, really good
stories. And something that keeps you locked on. Like I had a friend that said that they had never watched it, and they started at like I would say 3 in the afternoon, and they started watching it. And he's like at 4 o'clock in the next morning he was still watching. He's like I was tired as hell, but he's like that ending of season 8 and season 1 or episode 8. He's like I woke up. And he's like, there is so much to say. He's like, I was dead tired. He's like, almost asleep. And he's like, I woke up and sat up on my couch watching that last episode. And he was like, it amazed me that this was capturing he's like, I could feel it. And that last episode was just amazing in season 1. Like, absolutely amazing.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I would be curious to see it. I just I've actually been watching other TV series. Yeah, so it's like. Yeah, I will. I know at some point get around to it, and I'll watch the whole thing, and I'll probably binge it. I'll probably take an entire Saturday and just. But yeah, no, I mean I've heard much better reviews for it, and some of the actors I've actually been very interested in watch them specifically because I just think that there's some really good cast members, and like you said, I mean you've already stated like they're great, so I can only assume that they're pretty fantastic. But
Yeah.
yeah,
There's just a lot of. They had captured something from the first one with the color grades, and that's what impresses me about the first one was so much is like the difference of color grades between the eras, and the wardrobes and the makeup and how they shot it. I did a lot of research into like the whole Matthew McConaughey and him interviewing for that. And he had talked about a lot about the script, but it was interesting about his take, and we'll try to link that. It'd be interesting to link that below, because it's super fascinating to me on how they shot that. I love studying anything that has a good story and how they shot it and how they did it. And like when I find something like True Detective, it's like everything and anything I can get my hands on about why they told it the way they did is super something I want to go after. So. I want to get better, and that's you have to go after people, learn from people that are doing great stuff. So,
but yeah, talking about TV shows, recently Hulu has generously brought to me a very interesting TV series that I had never heard of and did not know existed called The Terror.
Oh, I've heard of this one.
Oh boy.
Oh my god!
What's so good about it?
So The Terror is, man, how to describe this? So I've seen a lot of TV shows that revolve around horror. I've seen, obviously, what's it called, American Horror Story. I've seen that. The Terror is like it's a drama series to start with. Everything's set under the guise of exploration and British Royal Captain John Sir Franklin. And the concept behind it is obviously like them going into the Arctic, and they're trying to find passage up and around. And anyway, I don't really know how to describe it because of just how... Well, first off, it's beautiful. I don't know how to push it. I don't know how they shot it. I don't know what they shot it on, but it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And one of one of the things that I'm always blown away with by filmmakers is when they shoot entire TV series at night, because in the Arctic they only get like 30 minutes of daylight whatsoever.
Or there'll be multiple days of darkness and then multiple days of light.
Well, like for entire winter it's dark. There's no light.
Yeah.
And so they film for, like, the story progresses for months without light whatsoever. There is no external light. So when they go out into the darkness, it's all dark. When they go anywhere, they have lanterns. When they just, the overall technical side is absolutely beautiful. But strip all the way the technical stuff. The story is so stinking good. I'm the kind of person that like absolutely adores scriptwriters that take scripts and they say, we're not going to give the listener, or for example for this one the watcher, any clue. Oh yeah, thank you, the viewer, any clue whatsoever with what's going on. Like every single thing that happens within the film, you're just going, what, why? And those kind of films are the most satisfying to me. And I think True Detective touched on that, but for me specifically for The Terror, dude, I can't get enough. The overall storyline is literally filled with mystery. The entire single thing, and you're always asking yourself, okay, who the hell is the bad person? Like who is the protagonist? Like there is none. There's absolutely none. The whole thing is literally a journey, and you get to experience it from just the crew. And it's shocking to me that a film can take 150 people. 150 unique characters and put them onto two separate ships that are frozen into the ice, and they live there for years in these ships, and how they go through mental craze, they lose their minds, they are attacked by this thing they can't describe, they are fighting each other, they are fighting the political sides of the ship. You begin to realize, like, humans in general, and it does such a good job of this, it's the same feeling that you get from, there was a film that was released like 5 or 6 years ago that was about people or an entire crew that was stuck in a submarine. And what ends up happening is you realize it's like you take all of humanity and you stick it into a tight quarter with only a certain percentage of people, and you begin to realize the unique and very distinct interactions that they have. Every single one of them affect all of the rest of the group. One person does one thing and it affects everybody. One person messes up, they get flogged, but that starts like a revolt amongst the men. It's shocking to me just how they were able to take such a large story, condense it down to so little people, and then tell such an intense situation just through each individual's interaction with the cold, trying to survive. Yeah. And there's a scene where he takes the eyeglass and he reaches up to his eye like this, and he looks, trying to find the people that were getting pulled away by this mysterious creature they can't name. It's massive, and it somehow is smart and intelligent. He pulls it up to his eye to look, and he does this, and it peels part of his eye off because of the cold. And it's so detailed, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I know I've been raving about it for like a whole straight 2 minutes, but I would highly suggest that people go watch it. It's absolutely fantastic.
Oh, it's a ding ding. There are times in a podcast where you just can't get rid of the little ding, but it's always good when you're getting paid. It's okay. It's all right.
But yeah, so anyway, there was my like 60-second rant on The Terror. So, but yeah, anyway, yeah, if you guys get the chance, definitely go check out The Terror. And yeah, it's just a fantastic deal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I might have to go take a look at it and see. Did you see me binge watching it the next week?
Oh,
it's like, where's Philip? I don't know where to go.
I will have to say YouTube has something that's interesting, because I will start watching it like a YouTube channel. Like, there's a guy, and it's random. Because I'll start watching a guy called Kevin Richin. He runs a YouTube channel called Lion Whisperer. And I'm watching it. It's super interesting. And I get addicted to like really weird like shit when it comes to just like lions or even
alligators or sharks
or shit. Like I absolutely love that type of stuff. But I've watched it for like probably like 3 or 4 months. And I went back and I started talking to Philip, and he's watching Kevin Rich. Like, he's like, yeah, it was in my recommendation.